November 14th, and I'm coming on here today to ask for prayer for me. Last night I got a call that I needed to go to my parents' house because my uncle had about 24 hours to live. My Uncle David, the one that I'm very close to. And I get there and hospice was there. They said he's not doing good, so I go inside, and before I went inside, I felt, on my way there, they lived like 7 miles away. On my way there, they told me, like in my spirit, I heard him say, I'm waiting for you to get here. I want you here. So I get there, I go in his room, and he's doing the death rattle. I mean, he was cold. Mom's like, oh, he's been running a fever, but he's been unresponsive since last night. So I take him by the hand, and I'm sitting there talking to him and everything, and so then I leave the room. Mom's talking to me, and then about 20 minutes later, my sister comes there, and my sister is all about herself. No one else. She's just, and her and my dad are so close, it's unreal. And I'm not one to judge, but, I live a righteous life for God, and I have a calling, and yet my dad still cannot accept me. And I was raised to be accepted, okay? And I know we weren't called to blend in. We were called to stand out, and that's why, we were supposed to count all of our trials, and persecutions, all glory to God. But it's kind of hard to when it's being thrown in your face, and it's supposed to be your family. The thing is, my adopted family adopted me and treated me like I was not loved my whole life, and my biological family the same way. So anyways, my point is, I ended up, leaving the room, and then my dad, I said, where's Dad? And then, he's still doing Bible study like always. I said, Uncle David is the last living relative of his. He needs to be here. Well, she ended up leaving. She's like, well, she had the kids, and they were crying, and boo-hoo. I said, and this is why I won't bring my kids. And she goes, it's called the circle of life. And I was like, your opinion, but okay. After they left, I went in the room, and I was holding his hand, talking to him, and I told Mom about the dreams that I've had. And I said, maybe it's time you guys start listening to me. Well, she got up to walk away, and I grabbed her by the arm gently, and I said, please, I am begging you guys to start listening to me. Okay? So then I go back in the room, and he's laying there in bed. I guess last night he fell out of the chair and wet himself, and it took 2 paramedics to pick him up because he was a big, he's a big guy. And he's laying in the bed, and I said, Mom, he's ice cold. So we tried to get his oxygen reading because he was on oxygen. It was 7:05, and we had to go get his morphine, and Mom's like, can you go get his medicine? And I said, Mom, it's a 45-minute drive. I said, there's no way. By the time they ship him out to the nursing home, I said, he's not gonna, he's gonna be gone. She goes, oh yeah, that's true. And I said, and Mom, he's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it through the night. And she's like, oh yes he will, yes he will. I said, he's not gonna make it, Mom. Well, I go back in there one last time, and I'm talking to him about memories and everything, and then I whispered in his ear, into thy hands I commit thy spirit. Father God, he's ready. Take his spirit, and you're ready for him. He's ready to go home. And I said, he's lived a long, happy life. He was here to fulfill his purpose, and I'm here now. He wanted me here. And I told him, I know you can hear me, Uncle David, and I know you really can't squeeze my hand, but I felt it get warm. I can't even explain it. And then he opened up his eye, and I stroked his forehead, pushed his hair back. He took one last breath, and he was gone. And I went out I put my hand on his chest because all I heard was the oxygen. No more rattling. And I knew he passed on. And I walked out into the living room and I said, Mom, you need to come in here now. And she's like on the phone. And I said, you need to come in here now. Uncle David passed away. She goes, all right, I'll check. I said, no, he passed away. She grabs her stethoscope, goes in there, checks it, wraps a scope around her neck, looks at me with a fearful face and said, he's gone. I said, I told you. I said, he waited for me. He told me he wanted me here. And you know what she said? Well, that's a possibility. So then I was like, all right, where's the comfort in that? Whatever. Well, then my sister comes in to the house. Well, before my sister comes in the house, my dad comes into the house, okay? We've already got the paramedics there, da-da-da-da-da. You know, he has the DNR, do not resuscitate. You know, we're trying to find the papers, waiting on hospice to get there, and South Care or whatever. And he ended up, my dad ran in the room, and I heard him say, my brother. Well, I ran in the room and I hugged him, and he really didn't hug me back, and he just cried, and I just squeezed my dad, and I'm crying, and I said, he was an amazing man of God. I said, the bond that we had, nothing can compare. I said, he's at home, he's where he wants to be. He said, I know, I'm the last living relative. I said, I know, and he was just crying and crying and crying. Well, then my sister comes in the house, and them two instantly embrace. It kind of reminds me of the prodigal son, or, you know, Joseph in the mini coat of colors, how, you know, he was one of the favorites, but yet everyone was jealous over him, and yet he had the biggest blessing. In the end, he became king. And the thing is that my family has always pushed me on the back corner. And I'm trying to relieve my anger I have towards the way that my family treats me. It hurts because I have nobody to comfort me. I have nobody there for me when I need them. Nobody. And my uncle was the only one that understood me in the flesh. You know, he's the only one that understood my tongues. He's the only one that understood prophecy. He's the only one that knew where we were in biblical times. And I have nobody. I have Jesus. I have, you know, my YouTube friends, you know, phone calls. But to physically have that, I have no one. And I believe that this was God's way, you know, of letting me know that everything's going to be okay. And I know it's going to be okay. You know, because nobody lives forever. I'm just so heartbroken right now. But I also know that he's in a better place and he's happy. I just don't understand why people are so cruel to me. And yet I'm the one that's still standing strong. I'm the one that's trying. I feel like giving up. I feel like just letting everything go. You know, and I don't feel loved. And then last night I had a nightmare, which I know is normal. You know, that I accidentally ran over someone, but it was by their fault, and they ended up putting me down. They euthanized me in front of my kids. And I don't want to seem selfish, but I'm not ready to die. I want the rapture to happen, but I'm not ready to die. I'm not ready to leave my children. I still feel there's a lot of work to be done. And death, I know, is the circle of life. But he's not dead. He's living forever. I just don't know what else to say, you know. Everybody's going through trials. Everyone's going through tribulations. But it's like, when we need someone to be there for us, they are not. You know, everyone wants to look out for their own self-gain, their own self-interest, and nobody cares what anybody has to say. Nobody wants to be there, but yet they want to make sure you're there for them. And I know it's because we have a compassionate heart, but it hurts. It really, really hurts having a compassionate heart for people who don't care. My heart is hurting so bad, and I just feel that I don't know. The dreams, I found out June 16th, I had this dream 3 times, that it was my uncle, my dad, and then it was my mom that passed. And the thing is, I told her last night, I said, you know that Dad's next. And she said, I know. I said, Mom, listen to me. Dad is next and it won't be too far off. I mean, and I said, I had this dream 3 times, the identical dream. And my uncle believed everything, and I don't have that anymore. I'm not upset about the fact he's gone. I'm upset about the fact that I have nobody now that can relate to me. I can't talk to anybody. I feel more alone than I ever have. And sometimes I do feel like God's abandoned me because he's not really speaking to me. I'm not getting dreams, and that's a way of comfort. And I need comfort. How do you think Jesus felt? That's what I keep trying to tell myself. How do you think Jesus felt when his disciples weren't even there for him on his deathbed, I can't imagine. But one thing I know for sure is we're going to meet again, and it's going to be soon. I don't know the day or hour, but I know with all prophecy coming to pass in Israel, Trump just said he will lead Israel become prime minister of Israel if, they don't get a leader, which we know, obviously, could be a very well, thing that could actually happen. I don't know. I just know it's soon, and my uncle has told me that it's any day he's waiting, and that's the biggest blessing of all, is just the waiting game, because we know that Jesus is coming. We do not know the day or hour, but right before he passed, he kept chanting, Jesus, take me home. Jesus, take me home. And it was awesome, because 5 days ago when we got in conversation, he's the one that told me, I see how your family treats you. He said it's not right, but all you can do is just get past it. You can move on, and just let it go. You have to forgive them. And he's absolutely right. I do have to forgive them. And this is the type of stuff that I struggle with, because I've been hurt and crushed my whole life. Sometimes it's not about other people. Sometimes it is about me. It's the letting go that's the hardest part. It's the change that's the hardest part. But I understand through Christ, he gives us strength. He gives us wisdom and knowledge. And the saddest part is last night when I got in my car and I left, I didn't even tell anybody goodbye. Sorry, my hand is completely numb. I was screaming at the top of my lungs driving home. Screaming. I told God, I'm not angry with you. I'm not angry at, you for taking my uncle. I'm glad he's home. I'm angry at my family. And I want this feeling to go away. I don't know what I've done to deserve this. And I don't want to sound selfish. And I understand that the way that I feel is kind of selfish. I just want to go home. This pain, these trials that we're going through is the hardest, and they're just getting harder and harder and harder. And I mean, soon it's going to end. And that's the thing. Uncle David said that it's any time. Any time Jesus will be here. He said, believe that. Any time. And I don't know, he could have just been talking about for himself. But I believe he was referring to the rapture. So please pray for me. Today is not a very good day. And if I'm not on, it's simply because God's telling me not to be on. I have nothing more to say. I'm drained. I feel like my ministry's coming to a close. I feel like it's coming to an end. I feel like everything I say and do is wrong. I feel like nothing is right in my life. So just uplift one another and continue to be there. It's all we can do. God bless.